What it do, fam? You're listening to the Urban Sports Scene with Wole and Ray. What's good, my dude, Ray Jeezy?
Hey, it's a big day for us, brother. Basketball royalty. Dudes our age are going to appreciate this show tonight, brother. I don't know about the younger generation, but if you, I want to say, what is it, Generation Z? If you like Gen Z, like my kids, y'all need a history lesson. So I would still pull up tonight. You know what I'm saying? I would still watch this episode depending on when you're looking at it because it's going to be dope.
Oh man, look, man, if you a hooper, you gotta appreciate this episode. I don't care what you are, and especially you an area hooper too. You gotta appreciate this episode, man, because this is the dude we about to have is one of them ones. If you watch ball, he was one of them ones. But before we introduce our guest, hey, we gotta knock out some logistics. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel. Please hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. Don't forget to tweet us at Urban Sports Scene. Hit us up on IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene and like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Also join our Urban Sports Scene Facebook group. Search Urban Sports Scene, sports bloggers, sports podcasters, and sports debates. All right, let's get into our tradition. The pregame. Here's what we have on tap. We'll chat with arguably the best college basketball player ever in Wake Forest. Yeah, I'm going to say this. I know who was in Wake Forest. I know who was there. But he's also a product of the DMV.
Absolutely.
Hey, Ray, can you introduce our guest, homie?
For sure. You set the stage, my brother. Like I said before, off air, this show is for you, Wole. We got basketball royalty joining us on the Urban Sports Scene tonight. And his brother, for real, Wole, he don't need an introduction. But we're going to do it right. Like you said, native of Washington, D.C. And his basketball resume includes being an All-American at Wake Forest, an ACC Tournament MVP, and that epic 1995 ACC Tournament where he led the Demon Deacons to their first tourney title in over 30 years. He went on to be drafted 19th overall by Detroit Pistons, and he's currently a college hoops broadcaster. Welcome to the Urban Sports Scene, Randolph Childress. What's good, brother?
Man, I appreciate y'all calling me. So I need to get y'all to call me out for every intro me for games, man, when I'm working. Y'all got me feeling like I can still hoop.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Folks need to know. Folks
I appreciate
need to
it,
know.
Man. I appreciate you having me. You guys keep doing your thing, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey, we're happy to have you for sure. So I want to start out with a bit of an icebreaker. I talked to you a little bit before we came on air, and I got a chance to interview. I've interviewed Kenneth Blakeney from Howard many times, and one time we talked about just the era in which you played basketball in and he played in, and we talked about some of the best high school teams, the best high school tandems at the time. And I mentioned you and Corey Alexander. I thought that squad was dope. You had Serge Wick on that squad, I believe. And he talked about guys like Lawrence Moulton, Charlie Harrison at Carroll. He talked about Lamont Morgan and Robert Churchwell. To fast forward a few years, me and Wole, we remember when Keith Bogans and Joe Forte played on the same team. So I want to get just your opinion on what do you think is the best high school tandem or high school team from that era, and what was it like playing on the streets back in the playground days in the 90s?
All right, let me start with that first. Playing, you just you hear the stories. Everybody tell you the same, right? You lost, you didn't get on. So from playing, if it was playing on Congress Heights with Lonnie and different guys traveling all around. You mentioned Charlie Moe. Like once Charlie Moe and I played AAU basketball, that's how I started playing. And he and I was like childhood boys. So I would always go over his house and stay in Northeast. He'd come over mine, and we were vice versa. We were always going around hooping. So you knew who the ballers were in the area. Obviously it's total different times than it is now. So we always just stealing from each other, learning from the older guys. Like I remember, for me, it's Radar, it's all those guys. I'm looking at Kurt, older guys, and kind of like looking at them, modeling at them because, this was before a lot of the reclass and stuff. I'm leaving when I leave high school. I'm still 17, so I was really young watching those dudes grow up, and in my eyes, they were like special. Talking about high school teammates, which the best, man, who knows? Like to me, back then, I tell you what, back then it just depends on the night. Right, you can look at rankings wise, or you look past that, and like obviously Corey and I were 2 first-round NBA draft picks in the same draft, but we caught Charlie Moe and Sam on the night, and they lit our ass up. It just depends on the night. It was always somebody out there. Romeo Roach up at Dunbar. Like all them dudes. Dwayne Simpkins. They made a big deal out of that. We finally played each other not till Summer League. Man, they treated that summer league like it was the national championship game. How many people was at that summer league game? Because Flint Hill and DeMatha played each other. So, you know, to each his own on that, man. But it was a hell of a lot of ballers back then, that's for sure.
Man, I tell you, Wole, and it's such a small world because, you know, Wole, we cover boxing, we cover the Roach family. Romeo Roach, he was just at the fight.
Yeah.
It was, I guess that was what, April 12th. You know, no excuse. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
You mentioned them, but it's so much we could say about playing high school ball in this area. You know what I'm saying? And the amount of talent that comes from it. I don't know if you saw a few years back, somebody tried to put together a Mount Rushmore, and it was like Durant and Lim Bias, and after that, it was all these arguments. So it just speaks to again how dope this area is when it comes to hooping. But we probably gonna come back to that. I want to ask one more quick icebreaker before we get started with the real questions. Is in your time in ACC, what was the hardest gym to play? And I'm sure most watching probably would say Cameron, but everybody's had mixed opinions. What was it for you?
Clemson, Little John.
Why? Why is that? That's a good. Yeah, why is that?
Man, one, it was the style of play. They always had, like I said, you know, from Wayne Buckingham to all them. You look at the frontline guys, like Clemson had guys. People can go back, look and doing that Dale Davis and Eldon Campbell era with those guys, but they had Wayne Buckingham and a couple other dudes come back behind them, man. And them dudes was legit and it was physical. And in the gym, like they had their students right on top of you. Everybody talks about Cameron or Carolina or one of those schools. I didn't think those were the hardest place to play.
Really?
They were always super motivated for them.
Okay.
And when you were really good, they never did anything special, right? They didn't scheme you. They just lined up and played man to man. So if you could ball, you could get off on them. So it was never really a hard place for me to play. Like I never lost in Cameron. It's like, I don't know what I can't.
I love it.
For all my Duke boys out there, D Hill, all of them. I give them all hell. They know. Hey, ask Blakeney. Ask Kenny when y'all see Kenny. Ask Kenny. I talk to all of them. Hey, listen, I give them so much crap. I have to. They're dominant program, man. We know where they are. We know the players that come through there. But I'll call up Grant. I might be like, hey, Grant. Hey, man, ask Coach K, why my jersey ain't like my jersey should be up in here. All these game winners and buckets, I done put it in this. I should be hanging up in here. I'm undefeated in here. So I'm going at them dudes, but no, man, we can laugh about it now, but no, it's a special place. But for me, it was Clemson. Clemson was the hardest gym. The students were right. Their student body was right by our bench. It was just loud, man. It was just a tough place to play. I don't know why. I think we had some issues there, struggles times, but for me, the hardest gym to play in was probably Clemson.
That is crazy. So who? All right, I'm gonna stay there. Who was the toughest? Let's stay there. While you were at Wake Forest, who was the toughest cover for you while you were at Sam
Cassell.
Okay. Bobby Sir, Bobby Sir,
and Charlie Ward. Like they had Charlie Ward, they had Sir, they had Sam. So it was three different guys and three different styles, and they could all go. And that was the problem. Like they were a problem for everybody, but that team was a problem. Kenny and his Kenny Ganderson when he was at Tech was a problem. Everybody differently, man. Like my freshman year, you talking about Fire and Ice and Corciani and them, down at NC State. You got work there. I mean, it's Bobby Hurley was always tough at Duke, so it just depends on the night. Like it was like being at home back then. You played your Duke because everybody had somebody coming behind them too. So how the times are different. Then you played barely as a freshman. You sat, you waited your turn, and so all the older guys would just, it was good. It was like it reminded me of being back home. Like I said, watching the older guys come playing against them, and you take your lumps, you learn off what they do, you steal some stuff from their game, you add it to yours, and then you try to come out. And then when it was your turn, like I always say, you get the baton, and when it's your turn, you just make sure you elevate it and then pass it down to the next group. So for me, it was, that's how I always started, and then taking from the older guys, kind of passing it to the younger guys.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to your college career. I do want to go back to it. I want to make sure we profile you correctly. I ain't even hold you. But you're a hooper. The NBA playoffs are going on right now. So what are your thoughts so far of what's going on in the NBA playoffs?
This time of year, man, like health. I'm sick about Dame Dash. Dame. With his injury, man, and what that means for him, and what that means for him next year. I've gotten to know Kyrie, and I'm sick. I'm really sick for him because I got really close to Kyrie and know what that whole situation down in Dallas, right? The trade, and everybody knows about that. Then for them to have the injuries, and they have two, really bad injuries, and Kyrie with the ACL at this state, and then having Lillard having the Achilles, man, and they talking about that could take him out even for next year. When you're talking about trying to win championships and things like that, health is a big part of it. So I like, the Boston. I think ultimately they come down to Boston and Cleveland in the East. I still give a slight edge to Boston if they're healthy. Like I said, health to be a part of that. And then the West, I think it's OKC. I think this is OKC's year to come out of the West. I see leakage and everybody else. I just think they're too young. They're too good. Their length, I think they'll be a problem coming out of the West. But I do think it's Cleveland or Boston. But I'm slightly, if Boston's healthy, I like the Celtics.
What's making Cleveland so good this year? Is it just the Twin Towers, just the way
they got so much length, man? They're better defensively than people give them credit for. They got so much length, and then the depth that they've added, with their team, they got scoring now from the team. It's just they're suffocating defensively. That game last night, man, like seriously,
good God.
Like you have to turn that off, man. That's a mercy rule. That's like it was you playing somebody 21, it was 11-0 skunk, man. Man.
Turn the game off.
Turn the game off, man. Start playing PlayStation or something, or just go to bed or whatever you want to do, man. That shit was bad last night. I couldn't watch that no more.
I love it.
It was like a 1/16 seed in the tournament or something. That's how I look at it.
It wasn't even that bad. Some 16 games is competitive, somewhat for a little bit. Come on, man. That thing from the opening tap was bad. Like, that was bad, bro. Seriously. That looked like a number one high school team playing a JV, like a 1A JV team. Like that looked bad, man. That looked bad. That looked bad. I mean, I love the Heat and their culture and everything else and what they've been. Like I said, Bam Adebayo's another youngin of mine. It's like family, and I felt bad for him last night because he's a dog and he's a champion and Olympic champion and gold medalist and everything. But man, they got Jimmy's out of there, and that team is they in the reset mode after that.
Yeah, I knew Jimmy was valuable. I didn't know he was that valuable to what they do over there. I knew,
the thing about trades all the time is that you get a guy like that or you get a dude, and it's not. It just doesn't. You don't get equal value when you trade them dudes. Yeah. Right? You don't get equal value when you trade guys like that. So it's fair to be. It's a fair argument. Now people talk about somebody I hit in the chat said the Heat coach is dead.
Yeah.
I won't say that because the coach will never die. The problem is, can you get players that buy in? Like Bam fits that. Jimmy fit it.
Yeah.
But in doing that, dealing with these younger dudes, they don't want to operate the way Pat Riley, operates and the way he runs stuff, the way they do stuff, man. And it is old school. It's different. And if you fit, you fit. You can't argue with the success that they've had. So you can't say that it's dead because it's they have won championships with players. NBA is a players league. It's players driven. If you got dudes, you win. You don't have dudes, you ain't winning. It's just as simple as that.
Whoa, Taj going in. He said Pat Riley's past his prime. Pat, he's one of the best to do it in the front office, my brother.
His prime long gone. But when you look at NBA finals, he's damn near been involved in half the NBA finals, man.
Facts.
So you got to put some respect on that. Like half of them. You talk about resumes. There's very few people got a resume like him. It's time. Like I won't argue that it may be time for him, but when you do what he's done, you earn the right to step off when you ready.
Yeah, Taj, you saw Winning Time. Shit, you already know. you know what time Pat on. You know what time Pat on. So, but all right. So I'm a Lakers fan. I mean, Ray knows this. I'm a big Lakers fan. Magic's my goat.
That's like you better go watch your last game. You about to watch your last game? Like,
no, we gonna win it, LA. We gonna win it, LA.
You gonna win it, LA. You gonna win it, LA.
You gonna win it, LA. It's the one in Minnesota.
You gonna
win it, LA.
You hope, but go ahead.
All right, so all right. So and I mean, it's more about Luka. I ain't gonna talk. Everybody talks about LeBron. It's more about Luka, right?
Right.
Do you feel like Luka is the type of player that can actually win a championship because of the way he plays defense? I'm gonna keep it a buck. The way he plays defense. I'm not gonna be as mean as I could be, but the way he plays defense.
I say this: we're gonna find out, and the reason I say we're gonna find out about him is I think the trade. I'm hoping the trade does something to him to make him say, "All right," because he was just so good so early in this.
Yeah.
But you can't. He will not win a championship until he becomes serviceable defensively. Where you can't be where somebody's just saying, "We gonna seek you out," and you don't try.
Yes.
Like I get you got limitations. I get, you know what I mean, but sometimes he just lay you. Like, all right, man, go ahead. Like he's playing pickup. Like, all right, man, I'm gonna get you back on the other end. And if he don't try on defense, and it's gonna take time to build a roster, man, to cover that up.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you say what you want. Like, you can make that argument about Steph, but he got Draymond. Like, he got other guys that help cover him, help cover him up, and he'll try. He's a little dude. He's still 6'3" or below the effort,
guard. Like you say, he put effort. Yeah,
he'll at least try.
Yeah,
Luka don't have no excuse not to try at his size because he's not a little dude. He's a bigger guard, and but he got to try, bro. You can't line him up and be like, all right, where he at? Like, bring him in, let him set this ball screen and go at him. Like seriously, he I-95, bro. I mean, it's bad, bro. Until he changed that, then I'll say no. I'll say no. And if he, but we'll see. I think we'll see a much better Luka next year because I do believe the trade guys like him. You get traded. He didn't expect to get traded. I know that had to hurt him, and it had to be humbling to say, you know what, we don't think we can win without you. So if that don't motivate him to try to be better, to be better on the defensive end of the floor, then I don't know, because he'll put up numbers, he'll have a great career and all that, but leading a team to a championship, particularly with him because of his usage rates on the offensive end, he dominates the ball. And he will definitely when LeBron leaves. When LeBron goes, he'll dominate the ball, and that's hard to play with. Like that's the other problem he's gonna have is that if he dominates the ball the way he did in Dallas, Kyrie was the perfect superstar to play with him because Kyrie was like, man, just give me the ball, let me go get buckets. But it ain't a whole lot of Kyries out there either. It ain't any. So if he dominates the ball like that, the guys, it's gonna be, and it's the same thing in like certain teams, like Atlanta gonna be like that. You get a guard, like Trey, and then Trey dominates the ball. It's gonna be hard for guys to come and want to play with that because they ain't gonna touch the rock enough.
So I like that, like what you just said, because I'm watching Luka. You see it like in Dallas, right? That style of play with the Lakers, with LeBron still being there, like basically dribbling the ball out down to like the shot clock's at like six seconds, and then you're making your move. Can you really sustain that type?
No, he can do it. He's been doing it his whole career. The problem with him becomes, can you get enough pieces to win a championship that way? Like, how many guys can you play with? And then will your game evolve where you don't have a ball? Like, that's what I'm saying about his game. Like, it's great now. Now you're 25 years old. You done been in the league 5 years. You done won all this accolades, first team, all NBA, you all that. Now you went to the finals. You got a taste of that. But you also went to the finals and got picked on. So it's like, all right, then after the finals, the very next year, they trade you. So now let's see. We're gonna find out about Luka the next year. To me, we're gonna find a lot more about what he is, how he want to play. Given if LeBron comes back, if LeBron doesn't retire, he still needs the ball in his hands. He's not a guy that plays really without the ball. So can Luka game evolve without the ball, and can he compete a little bit on the defensive end or go a long way toward if he's gonna win the championship? Because nobody's gonna want to come play with you if they can't touch the rock. I don't care who it is. We've all been in gyms where the sorry dude want the ball. The bum. The dude that ain't got no business shooting in the gym, he still want the rock a couple times so he can throw that shit against the glass and miss layups and everything else. You got to let that dude miss his layups, shoot his couple air balls, and then you get the rock back. So That's what until Luka do that, man. He ain't winning nothing.
And and you're so right, because then that dude plays harder though,
He
right?
played hard.
First he chilling. He chilling for a minute. He's like, I ain't getting the ball.
The
He's giving a couple
sorriest
passes.
dude that can't shoot a lick, want to shoot the rock from time to time, man. You gotta get him the ball. You gotta be like, all right, man, we ain't getting nothing out of this possession. Hope he get fouled or something. Hope he can make a free throw. That's all you can do. Even the sorriest dude want the rock. He gotta get his shot up, man. You gotta go feed him early, get it to him early. All right, man, don't worry about that. Now come set this screen and get out the way. That's how you gotta play.
Oh man, Todd says GMs will have to construct their team like the Sixers did Allen Iverson.
Right. 1,000% right. 1,000% right.
Interesting.
1,000% right.
Hey Ray, you wanted to say something? I feel like I cut you off.
Oh no, you never cut me off at all. I'm just kind of listening to what he's saying about Luka playing defense, being a ball stopper, and I'm like, to me, that's the culture of the NBA in my eyes. Because I'm not the biggest fan of the NBA. I'm not gonna lie. I'm knee deep into college basketball through covers and just being a fan. And I feel like the culture of the NBA is not a defensive league. It's more so it's for entertainment purposes. And I think Luka fits that. And I think this whole trade, that's the reason for it. But at the same time, teams like OKC give me hope. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're right until it's time to win a championship.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're right for entertainment. Yeah. Like if you're not winning and you're in Dallas and your franchise is starting over, right? You're in transition. You draft a dude like he's somebody to come serve jerseys, and then you start getting better. You start getting pieces, shooters around him, blah blah blah. You start figuring out how to play him. Then it gets to a point where you get to the finals, and then you realize, like, damn, we got a way to go if we want to beat teams like this because we're not good enough defensively. It's too easy to guard those other guys when the teams can put a decent defender on Luka. We don't have enough talent around him to make those guys can get it and go. So we'll see what happens, man. The Lakers are there. Guys will go play in LA, right? Yeah. They'll get dudes, right? So it depends on what the right dudes will be. They're gonna have to get some 3-and-D guys, and he's in the right spot now. But nobody cares. No, they want their touches. Like you got to be strategic in the guy you put with him. Like I think you do. Like you can't put a Giannis with him. Guys that need the ball. He needs to play with a guy that doesn't dominate the ball. And can he evolve his game and get off the ball a little bit?
Yeah. Let me go off script real quick.
Go ahead, bro. You got it. I told you.
You know we in the DMV, so yeah. I'm a Wiz fan. Wole's not, like he just said. But if you had to pick at the top of the draft, Ace Bailey's up there, of course, Cooper, and you got Harper. Of the three, which one will fit? Just based on what you're talking about, the culture, the league.
Wizards.
The Wizards.
Cooper.
There we go. That's what I feel like now too.
Hands down, Cooper. And so Sar, as you know, the first pick. His brother played for me. I recruited his brother, so I know the family really well. They really are like family to me. When I go home, I see those guys, and so his brother Olivier is coming back off of his ruptured Achilles. Bub, little Bub there. Yeah. I like their team. You draft a Cooper flag if you can get a guy like that because he's a throwback in the way he approaches the game. Like he's one of those dudes that these younger guys. You can look at him and be like, man, you could have threw him back in the 80s or whatever, and he'll fit right in. Like he just want to hoop. Like he's a throwback dude that his game will come along offensively. I think he'll have some adjustment to make offensively. He'll remind me of like his transition to being a star in the league to me it'd be more like Cade Cunningham. Like meaning this, if you don't follow basketball. You looked at Detroit a couple of years and you've been like, man, they've been sorry as hell. They ain't watching. And then all of a sudden you look at him this year, third year in the league. Now he's an NBA All-Star. Mm-hmm. Like I think he'll have that type of, you'll see the talent. He's going to have to just figure out how to get into it. But who he is, his talent is the real deal. Like Cooper flag is real. And I like the other guys. I think Bailey's talented too. But the Wizards need, sometimes we collect all this old, this talent. You need guys, veteran guys, or guys that kind of show these guys how to be pros so they can take a step and grow together and maintain. If not, y'all know how DC is, man. Yeah. Sometimes you get a bunch of young dudes together in that city with some money, they're going to lose their damn mind. So
all the way facts.
To me, that's the biggest problem with being home is you get these young guys in this area right now. You need somebody like that can come in and don't really care about none of that. He just want to hoop. So I think they need to get a guy like him, but add some veterans to show these guys, man, how to be pros and not get distracted and have their ass uptown or wherever the hell the party scene at, and everything is up there now. So I hope that, because I'm cheering for the Wizards, man, to get it right at some point. Because I never understood it. I don't get it. Like, of all the major cities, it's a great place. It's a great place.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it either.
Basketball town.
It's a basketball town too.
They love hoop, and we just can't get it right. I'm cheering for them, but they got some young pieces, man. If they can just start accumulating the right talent, they seem to be off to a good start with guys. I like Sarr, for what he is right now. His defense is ahead of his offense. I like what Bub can do. But getting a guy like Cooper and maybe Bailey even, or one of these guys can help him. But I would want Cooper for this group of guys, that young core guys.
That makes sense. I had this discussion with Ray, and we were talking about how would it concern you that, like, you had two top tier lottery players in Bailey and Harper, and you weren't able to be I was not even make the tournament, but you weren't good.
Right.
Would that scare you in terms of transitioning into the NBA? Because typically, when you get one of those dudes in college who are like top lottery picks or guys who are deemed like the best player in college, a lot of them can still get their team to the tournament. You know what I mean? Like, I go local, like Mike Beasley in Kansas State to the postseason. Though it was quick, it was a quick run, it was a quick little. I'm there.
Yeah, but he had other dudes with him too, and they weren't young, right? That problem with that Rutgers team was they lost Clifford Morey to Alabama. Like, if he had stayed there, and they were able to keep some of their other guys, they were just stupid young with those two dudes, man, and they didn't have a whole lot with them. And it's just college basketball. These dudes old as hell, man. You playing, them dudes 7, 8 years old playing against 25, 26-year-old men. That's hard. That's I give them a little leeway with that, but I give them a little leeway with that. But again, but to your point, you still need to have somebody there to help them. That none of these dudes are ready to come in and carry an NBA franchise. So you need some veteran guys to help them, just teach them how to be a pro, to come in there, like, to show up when you in November, when you sorry as, in January, February, you sorry as hell. You need a veteran guy to still show you, like, hey, man, you got to come and hit them all morning early, get this work, just so they can gradually improve. If not, then they're going to be on the scene. They're going to be at the club. They're going to be at whatever. And then, you don't want them habits coming when you got a nice core like they got right now. So I think it's a critical time for the organization right now to get the right guys in there. And this draft, having a high pick, figuring out who they can add to it, and adding the veteran with it.
Why are you saying everything we be thinking, Wole?
I know. He said the old ass. He talking about the old ass college players that stay in and one of the young dudes rock. I mean, like you said, everything that I always think in life. I'm sick of seeing.
I'm so sick of that rule, man. I hope they change it. Like, I'm literally hoping that they go, you got 4 years to play 5 and to cut it out. And then let's just go. Move on. Like, this 25, 26-year-old, this 8-year, man, cut it out. Like, it's like, let's move. But it ain't, it is what it is. Nobody's changing it. I get they're getting their money. I'm happy they're getting their money, but it's got to be anytime somebody, I want another year, or now they talking about giving JUCO kids, you can go to JUCO and then that not count against it, and then go to 4. Like,
that's wow.
Yeah, come on, man.
That is so wow. All right, let's get to what I want to talk about. I want to talk about your college career. So I want to talk about it, but I can't talk about your college career without mentioning this. Talking about what happened here. Like, we got
Randolph Childress. Nice little cross. Oh, my. What a cross over there.
Did you see that?
Get me. Oh, man. Little salt in the wound there.
Fall down, son. I'll give you a chance to get up. Oh, are you kidding?
See, if you were on the playground, that's what you call breaking the guy's ankle.
All right. First off, before I get to the tournament run, because that was special, that was legendary in its own right. But why you had to do him like that? What he do to you? He said something to you. That's why you had to do him that way.
He did. First of all, if you know Jeff McGinnis, first of all, like, one thing I missed back then, we could talk trash.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can talk trash, and we can talk trash when we're playing. So it's not like this was before they started teching you up. Like, literally, we like Ray and I could be going right at it on the court. Ref won't say a word. But they beat us at home early in the year. and he made a comment. He said to the paper, to the journalist that after the game, he goes, "If we kept it close, we felt like they would choke." And I was like, dude, like choke. I ain't never choked in my life. Like I ain't never been scared of. I may have missed a shot, but I ain't been afraid to take it. And so I was like, all right. So I had that date circled on my calendar before. So we had like literally the way the season ended. We played Carolina, then we played NC State, and NC State was senior night. So we had just played them not even a week before that game. So I felt like I got my lick back in Chapel Hill because we beat them in Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
So this is just the tournaments going on, man. It's game 1 is Duke, game 2 is Virginia. I'm exhausted for real, but then it's Carolina again, and I'm like, all right, I still remember what you said. So when we got out there, it was kind of like, all right, and then it was stuff that my man Kevin Sutton, who's who coached me in high school at Flint Hill, was some of those things we would get in the gym and do all the time, man. And back then it was just like, hey, I'm gonna get to my spot and different moves, and I wasn't gonna let your pressure bump me off my spot. So when I did it, it was just really, I didn't even care if I made the shot. It was just the move was just like, you talking all that shit. Like I'm here. Like you gonna get this work today. Like I'm giving you 30 today was what the whole conversation was. But man, listen, me and Jeff will battle, man. But I'm gonna tell y'all how funny the world is. How then and God don't know what it is. So after this over, all I hear is stories, right? Y'all can imagine, because one of the reasons this stands out now is you can't do it anymore. They would just it would be a technical foul. Do it anymore, right? So my first year, I go on the road and recruiting. They send me out. I get how you get the little packets and stuff you get, and they give me this list. So I got a little list and I got a packet of names on it. So I look at this list, I look at this name, and I go, oh, okay, I'm looking at this kid. I'm like, all right, I'm going to call this coach right after this. Who is this coach? I look down and said, Jeff McGinnis. I was like, we ain't getting him. I called back to the office. I was like, yo, coach, you want somebody else? You want this kid? You better send somebody else to get him. Man. Jeff McGinnis coaching this kid. He ain't giving me this kid. I can tell you that right now. So if y'all want to send somebody else, I'll fly meet y'all. We'll swap places. We ain't getting him. So I like, man. But no, I see Jeff now. He down. He finally got in the college coaching, man. He doing his thing. So shout out to Jeff.
It's crazy because a lot of folks are trying to do that move, when they saw it. I know in my neighborhood, folks are trying to do the snatch back, get up. Anytime somebody hit the ground, it was always to get up for a minute. I'm not going to lie to you. Around my neighborhood, it was like, hey, get up. And they we was like, hey, we're gonna do the Childress. That's what it is. We're gonna do the Childress out here.
Hey, you can't do it anymore, man. Like I said, I remember Dean Smith yelling in the back of my ear, like, he can't do that. He's taunting. I just remember that's what I remember the most about it is hearing Dean Smith in my ear. Like, I'm seriously, it was just all my energy was just toward him, man. I was just looking at him like, man, you talked all that. Like, we got like you. I'm telling you, I'm going at you. That's all I was worried about. I didn't even care if I made the shot, to be honest. And it just happened and it went in. And y'all think I'm joking, and I mean this. If I remember, like, if Rasheed didn't run out at me, if Stackhouse didn't run at me, I was going to wait for him to get up. Like, I was going to wait and be like, get up. Like, I'm going at you. And then I saw Stack running out, and I was like, if I wait any longer, he going to beat that shit in the 5th row. So I was like, let me hurry up and get this off for Stack come and smack that shit. So, man, it was fun, man. We had battles back then. You took your licks back then, no doubt about that. You gave it, but you took, you had to wait your turn.
Ellison Burley said, Randolph, do you still keep in contact with Tony Rutland?
Absolutely. That's my guy. That's my young guy. He was my rook when he came in, and Rutland is coaching high school basketball now. He just resigned from his high school in Tennessee. One of our assistant coaches had just passed away. He was supposed to come to the funeral. He couldn't make it, so he was going to stay at the house. And this was April 10th. So yeah, that's my guy.
So like, just talk about that running initially, like that run anyway in general. Like, you were exhausted. Like you put in major work. Obviously, last game. The last game was it Carolina or Duke? It was Carolina, right?
Carolina was the last game.
Carolina was the last game, right? So you were exhausted. Just talk about like just how much energy you had to exert to kind of will your team, just to that ACC Tournament championship.
The grind is like committing to weight. I'll have to go back and like to put it in perspective. Is going is when I committed to weight, they were sorry as hell. Like they were dead last in the ACC, and my final five was Carolina. It was Seton Hall, Wake Forest, Carolina, Maryland, and Georgetown. So everybody else was good. Like Seton Hall is just coming off the finals against Michigan.
Yeah.
You know, Maryland, Georgetown was rolling back then. Carolina is Carolina. And it's just Wake. So everybody's looking at me like, why are you considering going to Wake? Like, they sorry as hell. And so I met Rodney Rogers at Nike All-American Nike camp. And he ended up, matter of fact, him and Charlie Moe was on the same team. So hanging out with Charlie Moe and they were teammates, I got to know him. And then when he committed to Wake, I was like, oh, I remember him. I can go hoop with him. Like, we can win. And then Anthony Tucker, who's from home, was a McKinley Tech, was a McDonald's All-American, went to Georgetown. He had just transferred to Wake. So I knew it was some dudes there that if I came there that we can win. So going in there, helped change the culture, then start winning, and then to finally get to a point where we won a conference tournament, and then getting a number one seed in a tournament, man. It was a big deal. But we weren't a deep team, right? We didn't, I led the ACC in minutes. So you play those type of games, man, all year long. The season wears up, then and then you go on. But we probably played like Tim and I wouldn't go out. We would just go out when the coach might be like, all right, it's 4 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. We got a 4-minute TV timeout. He'll sub somebody out, sub him in, and then he'll go like 2 trips down the floor. He might be like, all right, foul. And I'd get the TV timeout, and that was my break. And I only missed 5 seconds or 10 seconds of game time. And then I'd go out there and play. So tired, man, but that's what conference tournaments do to you, in a year. Like, you play those games everywhere. You play back-to-back games. So it's impressive when teams go 4 games or 5 games now. They're a hell of a lot deeper than we were back then.
I want to make sure our viewers and listeners know this, right? You made Tim Duncan. And then secondly, I want to say this, like, understand this. Young Tim Duncan and Randolph Childress on the same floor together, and Randolph Childress was the better player on the squad. I want folks to really understand that.
He's my guy. We joke about it. We laugh. Like, I always, like, even throughout his career, I'll call him and give him crap, and give him crap about his career. But no, when he got there, man, he was, I don't know if he was 200 pounds.
Yeah, slender.
He wasn't supposed to start. Like, people see this career. We talk about our era and our time.
Yeah.
Maktar Njai, who he went to Michigan, then he ended up at Carolina. Maktar, who played with Stackhouse and McGinnis at Oak Hill, he was the starting center on camp. Starting center, and was supposed to be a freshman starting, but he got ruled ineligible. So we had no choice but Tim was going to get redshirted. They didn't think he was going to play. And then by the time at the end of his freshman year, you started seeing he started putting together double-doubles and 10 points, 10 rebounds, and then after that, man, the next year it was, hello America, I'm Tim Duncan. Like, he was a real.
I want to ask real quick,
Go ahead.
Because we talked to Derek Wittenberg about the ACC tournament, and before we could even finish our statement, he's like, I already had Randolph on the phone. We're gonna have him on that documentary. Yeah. All the dudes that came through the ACC since then. We talking about Vince Carter, Zion, Antoine Jameson. Right. A lot of talent, but still to this day, when we think the greatest moments in ACC history, you come up. How you feel about that? Considering all the talent that's come through since then.
To be honest with you, I understand what it was and I appreciate it, but I don't live in that time frame. You know what I mean? It's like I felt like that's just a small moment in my life, and it was a great moment. But I'm happy where I am now. I love my career and where it took me and how it went around and how it evolved, what I learned in that journey. I'm hoping. I'll be honest with you. I'm hoping someone eventually will break it. They will. It took 36 or 39 years or whatever it was when I broke that record. It'll take somebody to break that record. The great thing about it for me is it happened. It was all meaningful. I didn't chase the record. Like,
facts.
The winning record was the game-winning shot to win the tournament. Yeah. So scoring all the points in overtime, we needed all 9 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so. Again, part of that you can't change. It is what it is. I'm honored to be a part of the history of it, man. I wish that the tournament tournaments itself, because of the landscape of the sport, has changed so much. It doesn't mean as much as it once did. All the movement and conference alignments and everything else is taking away some rivalries and stuff like that. Like taking Maryland out of the ACC doesn't feel right.
That's trash.
So, but no, I'm still honored by it, man. I love it, but I love college basketball. To your point, I think there's still some, to see the growth and see the leap some of these athletes take, man, it's still special. But that moment for me, it's great, and I'll always remember it. But I don't think of it that much because, like I said, I think of everything in totality.
I'm cute to be. Nobody's breaking that record, my man.
They will.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. All right,
so tell me why.
It's gonna happen because all it takes is for somebody, because you can get up to 5 games. So they may break the overall record. They may not break the average. They may not do it in 3.
Oh, I got you saying.
You get what I'm saying? So
I get what you're saying.
It in 4. Like
it won't be the average. They ain't gonna beat the average.
It won't be the average. They might not average 37, 38 or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you can get 4 or 5 games, like you can go on a Kimber run.
True.
You get 5 games, and then now you only got to average 25.
Got you. Okay.
Just
you know what I'm saying? You average something like that, now you got it.
Yeah. Oh, you took your total. Yeah, you're right. Because I know because they're not going to average that. They're not going to average that. And to your point, it's not going to be. I know for me watching it, like you said, it was the flow of the game. It was like you're not chasing the record. It was like they need a bucket.
I didn't even know what it is. Like now,
exactly.
Like everybody knows what it was.
Facts.
If you went back and watched any of those games, you would never hear anybody talk about me even being close to this record because it was never a conversation.
Yeah. It was mentioned like after, it was after the fact, and it was like, oh, he broke a record.
He broke a record.
Like that's like folks were just like amazed at the play. Right. Then after the fact, it was like, oh, there was a record. You know what I mean? Yep. Like you didn't know of the record. My man Taj has a question for you.
Yep.
We was having a debate at the shop. Which conference had the better run in the 90s, the ACC or the Big East?
Whoa, you dirty dog! Who said that? God. Ooh,
I like Taj.
Again. See, you gotta realize, man, I'm watching. It was one school I was mad didn't recruit me, and it was Syracuse because of Sherm. When Sherm went up to Syracuse, I'm like, our games were different, but I'm like, damn, Sherm, nice. And then Archie went up there. So, man, I take your pick, right? Like take your pick because like I said, Georgetown was a school. Yeah. I was considering, but they was only going to take one guy, and then Charlie Moe went there, and then like that was that. I think probably one of the biggest what ifs would have been if Maryland didn't go on probation. A lot of us from the area, even like Stephon Marbury, older brother Norman, was going to go. We were all talking like all of us was going to go to Maryland together, and then just with the talent they had already had, like that was going to be something we considered. But when they got put on probation, Gary Williams came in and they were like, nah, y'all don't want to come here. We're banned from TV. And then, the rest is history. We all kind of went our own different ways.
Crazy. Ellison just actually referenced that. He says, you and Marbury were 2 of my favorite players coming up here in VA. Shout out to you, bro. Keep up the work on field of 68.
68. Yeah, my guys. Yeah, Steph was good. Stephon was good. But his brother, he had an older brother named Norman Marbury that was nice too. Like, he was really good. He just, he was like, Prop 48, never got eligible or whatever. But if you ask Stephon about his brother, he'll tell you his brother was legit.
That is dope. All right, so in terms of who would be for me? I mean, it's your top 5 ACC hoopers in the mid 90s.
Man,
mid 90s, early 90s, mid 90s.
Oh man, y'all should have gave me time to study that.
You can put yourself in, and you can put yourself in there if you want to.
No. It's always, to me, I always think about older guys. I would say, in the 90s, early 90s, I would say
early to mid. To your point.
I would say Grant's got to be on that list. Grant Hill.
Okay.
For the work that he put in on that, he would have to be there. I think my man Rodney Rogers would have to be on there.
He was nasty, man. He was nasty.
People don't realize, he only did 3 years. Like, he was Larry Johnson before. What I mean, he was that dude. Kenny was special. Like, I think guys forget how good he was. Because guys will look back at his NBA career and not know how good he was in high school or college. So I'd say Kenny's up there. Lakener was a problem. As much as I hate to admit it, I hate it.
He was a problem.
Lakener was a problem too. Like, Lakener was a serious problem. Like 6'11", shooting a three, putting it on the floor. You know, he was doing that when a lot of guys really wasn't doing that. Trying to think of who else he could be. Like I said, when Sam got the Florida State, man, that squad with Bob Sir and them, like I said, they were special. Like they were a problem. Carolina always had dudes, so it's kind of hard not putting the Carolina guy in there as well. So it was loaded back then.
Was Harold Dean after you? Harold Dean?
No. Harold Dean was there.
I thought so. Harold Dean. So I've always thought
Harold Dean was there with Corey.
He was Corey. Yeah, I thought so.
He was there with Corey.
Yeah, I thought Harold Dean was like that.
I agree. I got Joe Smith in my top 5 though. I got to because he went number 1 in the world.
Yeah, Corey Alexander. Yeah, no doubt. Joe deserved to be there. Like he would be. Yeah, he would be somebody. Like if I had time to admit, I probably would reshuffle something. I would put. Like it's hard not to put Tim for what he did ultimately there. So I probably would take Rodney out, put Tim in. I can't argue putting Joe in there. It's
tough though. It's tough though.
It's hard.
That's too hard.
It's hard.
That's a hard list to put together when you just think about dudes at that time. But
all right, let me do it this way. Give me your top Wake Forest players. Period.
Tim, Rodney, Josh Howard. I thought, like I said, obviously Chris doing his time.
Yeah. You really not gonna put yourself in it?
I would put myself if I was including that 5, yes, I would put myself. But if I'm excluding myself,
if you exclude yourself,
I would put. See, there's so many stories. Like I'm part of a history net when it comes to stuff like that. Like I know how good Charlie Davis was. He was the first Black MVP of the ACC. So this generation, like I'm not the older guy who craps on the younger guys, but I'm also not the dude that's going to exclude and not appreciate greatness for what it was at that time. So people don't realize the guards that was that weight, man. Like they had some good, they had some serious pros, man. Like guard wise, from Delaney Rudd to Danny Young to you've had Frank Johnson. Like you've had a lineage of point guard playing. Like if you were to go back and kind of like obviously Jeff Teague, you go back and Google guys that we've had over the last probably 30 years, we'll probably be in somebody's top 5, totality of players that we've had from the 70s up to now.
Yeah, great. Darius Singali was good in college too. He was sweet.
Yes, he was a problem.
He was a problem. He definitely was. He had great footwork. Definitely was a problem. So yeah, already know those are my tough questions. So I gave you my tough questions.
Sorry, you good?
All right, Ray.
Oh, well, we just want to ask you. Obviously, you went on to get drafted 19th overall, and me and Wole had a discussion about that because of your college career, how that ACC tournament turned out. But we feel like the NBA draft process and just the way players are scouted, there's a lot of politics involved. We think guys from overseas can get drafted ahead of guys who put in the work here. How did you feel about your draft process? Were you comfortable where you got drafted? I know I mean, it's a blessing to get drafted in general, but just how did you feel about that whole process? And what do you think about the political aspect? I mentioned to Wole that it was Ed O'Bannon was saying that he knew he was better than some guys that were taken ahead of him or that played ahead of him. But NBA GMs just straight up told him, like, we got to play these guys for XXX reasons or whatever. So just give us your thoughts on that.
It comes in, like I remember having a coach. You guys wouldn't remember Eddie Jordan.
Yeah.
Eddie Jordan was he was with the Sacramento Kings at the time.
Yeah.
And they were a lottery team. And they called me and he said he goes, we're split right now. We're in the room right now and we're split. And the coaching staff, we're leaning towards you. But the owner's going to have the final decision. And the owner comes in and he's like, all right. And I think they took Corliss Williamson. So a lot of times, you guys know, like in pro sports, owners are involved one way or the other. Like they're not like, so sometimes you're going to have owners. And even now, like I'll say this about the way the game, like the way pro sports is now, people think there's a lot of owners that are involved in what's going on. And they have no freaking idea of probably they own the team and can do whatever they want. But when it comes to basketball stuff, a lot of them have no idea what they do. They're just fans.
Mm-hmm.
They just own the team and they're fans. They're billionaires and they can do whatever the hell they want and they get involved in the process. So, but no, I had no issues with it because at that, it's like the way it went is there was only a few teams. Like Damon was first, and we become great friends, and we were competing against each other. Like we would look at each other's stats. Like Damon's out West Coast, I'm out here, and we competing against each other, trying to figure out. All right, when I played earlier, later on, he would tell me, he would look and be like, "All right, Childress had 20 tonight. All right, I gotta go get 25 or whatever." So it was what it was, man. And you get to situations like that. Sometimes you get on the team and you gotta deal with that. Like you'd be surprised at having to deal with that in a locker room. Like you get in the locker room and you got to deal with how all that stuff goes, man. And so it's a lot more to playing basketball than just playing basketball when you talk about NBA stuff. And actually, physically too, I had issues physically staying healthy with my shoulder.
Yeah.
We talked about the ACC tournament, right?
Yeah.
My junior year, I was supposed to get selected on that USA basketball team that played against Jordan and those guys, right? But I hurt my shoulder. Well, our last game of the season, we come out, we're preparing for the ACC tournament. My shoulder slips out. My shoulder pops out again. I don't, and the sad thing is, I don't shoot a basketball all week. It's like I heard it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't touch a ball because anybody know when you got your shoulder popping in and out, you can't lift your arm above your head. It takes days. Each day it get a little better. I didn't touch a basketball until Friday that night against Duke, and then I went for 40. My first comment when I walked in that locker room was the coach was like, because I'm a first-round draft pick, right? So I'm like, if they find out my shoulder messed up, I'm going to drop. I walk in the locker room, I'm like, oh, I got a coach. Did anybody know? He's like, man, you just had 40. Ain't nobody thinking about your shoulder. But as I started training, getting ready for the draft, man, it was slipping in, it was slipping out. And if you look, my rookie year, the same thing. Like I got to like Christmas. We went on a road trip. I got through Christmas, man, and it popped out, and I couldn't slip it back in. Like I looked like the dude on Lethal Weapon, the old Lethal Weapon dude, trying to knock my shoulder in. I'm trying to stretch my arm to pop back in. And, I'm doing all that, man, and then finally it's like, man, go somewhere and sit down, man. You can't play like that. So, but no, it's part of it. It's like I said, the biggest thing is I say it's more to playing basketball than playing basketball.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like to me, it's more for me in your career. Try to get in the NBA. How I viewed you because I watched you in college. You're a hooper. Like I don't care about you're a hooper. And the same way I used to talk about, and Ray knows that's like I say this like Michael Beasley. Like there's like no reason why Michael Beasley shouldn't be on the basketball team because of what he is as a scorer, right? Especially in today's NBA where people don't play defense.
But the problem that most people don't consider is the way an NBA roster basically goes is it's how do you complement
exactly
star. So I'm gonna pay Ray to be this and then it becomes all right. If I don't compliment Ray particularly if they paid Ray, they're gonna look at me like, hey, man, like if you don't compliment Ray, we gotta find somebody to help Ray because I gave Ray $80 million or $100 million. I can't sit him down and publicly acknowledge I made this mistake. So we're gonna find somebody that's gonna help Ray validate this $100 million that I gave him. So very few organizations. That's why we were talking about before about the heat culture. That's why you like a heat culture because somebody like Pat Riley don't give a damn if I pay you $100 million or not. I'll pull a dude off the street if he hooping, he gonna get it, and that's how it's gonna be. So it just is what it is. That's just the way the game is now.
Yeah, that's the politics, and for you, that's how I viewed it back then. I was like, Randolph Childress is still like.
I was like, man, let me go. Like I wanted to hoop. Like
yes, I'm saying,
when I was in Detroit, I got into it with Doug Collins one day, and I was like, man, y'all let my man get me. I don't care where it is. I just want to go hoop. Yeah. I don't want to sit here no more. Let me go hoop. And then I just started, and I went to Europe, and I just didn't care. I was hooping. I think the other thing that people don't realize when they talk about the physicality of the game is real. The hand checking is real. Okay. And I use Steve Nash as a prime example. Go back and look at the early years of Steve Nash, and then look at when they flipped hand checking and they allowed the freedom of movement.
Good point.
And look at his career.
That's a good point.
Look at his career.
Yeah, because he started off Was it Phoenix, right? He started Phoenix.
He was Phoenix, Dallas,
back to Phoenix. Yeah.
It was like he was on his way to being a journeyman, kind of out of it, and then they flipped it, and then now they can't put their hands on him.
Yeah.
And
Walt Williams told us the same thing. He said, "Man, if I could play now where they can't touch you," he was like
me being a smaller guard, right? At least Walt had size. Like me being a smaller guard and being able to shoot. If I could move and shoot, and you couldn't put your hands on me, then I could work. We got action. But when you start having them do with that, and people don't realize, man, they start talking about hand checking. Like you try to come off a screen. Man, I remember my first experience. I playing Derek Harper. People don't remember he played with.
His hands. He's
man,
real hands.
Dude grabbed me on my waist, man. I was trying to come off the ball screen. Shit, I was doing a running man. I wasn't going nowhere. I was coming off trying to. I was sitting there like feeling like I was more. I'm like, damn, I ain't going nowhere. He just squeezed my hip and I couldn't move. Man, it was just a different game, man. It was a different game.
And see, we had a whole discussion about that, but we don't want to keep you too long. We're going to have you back at some point because it's so many questions that we have about the comparisons to today's era, both collegially and at the pro level. Yeah. To now, when you factor in NIL, when you factor in the style of play, when you see how much these dudes cry to the refs, man. We just talked about Luka earlier. I ain't gonna say who talked to me about that. They were just like, I couldn't play with him. But anyway, before we close this out, we got to at least go back to when you played in this area because I mentioned Coach Blakeney earlier, Kenny Blakeney. He was like, man, I gotta retrain dudes in college because they don't know they play AU so many games that they don't take losing as serious as we did. He was like, we was on the court in the playground, and we ain't win. We weren't seeing the court no more because guys had next. And he was like, today's game is just so different. And even for him as a coach, yourself, you're a broadcaster. Right. You see the differences. But in terms of playing here in the city and the surrounding areas, man, just talk about that time frame before all the gyms and run and shoot came about when me and Wole played. It was a little soft at the time.
Hey, chill out, man.
Talk about those days, man, and how that looked. My man Walt Williams just referenced him. He talked about playing in Berry Farms. He's like, we got ran up off the court. He said, I thought violence was part of the game. So what was your experience like just playing here in the DC area?
It's the same with all those guys, man. We all kind of, it's true when they say like we would all find a gym or find somewhere to hoop, and you competed your ass off because you knew if you like game point could take 15 minutes because they foul and it's check ball, like seriously, like you gonna earn that shit because you knew if you lost, you better hope like maybe 2 games back somebody leave and they need one and they'll pick you because you guys sick. So it did mean more. We didn't have like everything was different then, and we validated. And it's not that it's I won't say that it's better in a sense because I do understand it's different now, but I do agree that part of it is harder because it matters more. Like right now, all these youngers are focused on. I think the frustrating part on is coaching because again, prior to me doing TV for the previous 11 years, I was coaching. So recruiting these dudes, and I'm in the gym and I'm sitting here going. Dudes, I'm like, thinking they going to the league, and you like, league? Like, where are you going? Like, dude, going where? Like, what league? Like the Lithuanian or the second division, like some third world country? Like, what? You better get what's that? That's the foreign language you can study. That's you used to get the disc. We used to get the disc back in the day, and you get it. I can't think the name of it, man. You better get that CD and learn a foreign language. Because that's about all you gonna overseas you're gonna get. So you have to adjust to it. And now with the money and paying guys now, man, you got guys, making 8 points a game and they want $500,000. The money it's changed. I know, Ray. We weren't gonna get into it, but it's changed so much from 2 or 3 years ago to what it is now. Like 2 or 3 years ago, teams you were good if you had a budget of $2 or $3 million. Now you got a player making $2 or $3 million.
It's crazy.
And when you paying a dude that much money, it's hard to motivate somebody to get up, man. When they got money like that. It's hard to get them to do it.
Man, I tell you, it's still a talent-rich area. I think about undersized guards, especially from the DC area. Elijah Hawkins comes to mind. He's probably not on somebody's national radar. Right. Played at Howard, balled out at Minnesota. Right. balling at Texas Tech, making good money in NIL.
Money. Right.
I'm happy for guys like that. But to your point, I just struggle sometimes when you see dudes transfer so many times and they never seem to reach their potential because the focus isn't on basketball. And it's difficult, or that's not the priority like it used to be. But anyway, I could go on and on. We appreciate you joining us. I don't have no more. Wole, I know you wanted to just before we let you get out of here, because Wole, this your guy right here. I did this to you, bro. We want you to share your social media, all that good stuff before you get out of here. Hopefully, share this show, of course. But Wole, if you got any last questions, go ahead, do your thing, bro. I'm good.
No, I'm good. I just want to say we appreciate you being on.
Oh man,
and I thought it was. And also, for our viewers, I thought it'd be very important for them to get to hear from one of the real ones in the hoop game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I appreciate it. I
think people like, especially our era of basketball, I felt like and especially your conference at that time frame. And I'm a Georgetown fan, so obviously I love the Big East or whatever. But I feel like in that era in the ACC, the teams that you had to go through, especially being Wake Forest, to your point, where you guys had to start off from you being a freshman to that point in time. That last year your last year at Wake Forest, and knowing you're going against Carolina with Jerry Stackhouse, Rasheed Wallace, and that team, that was a super talented team. And you beating that team, Duke, like the names in that conference were crazy, and you went through it and ran through it. I think it's very important for our viewers and our listeners to know like how dope of a hooper you were back then.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. It's their time, man, and I try to share. Like you mentioned, Elijah Hawkins. I follow him. I'm always following the youngest from home. I'm always looking for him when I see him. I'll see their name and know their name before I ever watch them play. So I cheer for him because I'm just just being a hoop head from home. It's just who I am, and I'm still following the game. And when I can help him, I just got a call today from Donald Hand, who's down living in Virginia Beach, and I'm gonna go up and check him out and work out with him some this summer, man. So I'm still watching the next group of guys coming through, man. I'm always cheering for the guys in the area, man. Likewise with you guys. When you want me back, just give me a shout, man. You guys got the number.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Right, man. Keep doing
have a blessed one. All right. Awesome. This is awesome, man. Thanks. Hey, Ray, that was good work, man. I appreciate it.
Everything he talked about, like I said, you and I talk about shows great minds think alike, and we all come from the same era, so it's dope. He didn't share where you can find him on social media. Wole, you got that covered.
I'll take care of it. I will tag him on. I will tag him. I will make sure. Hey, man, it's Randolph Childress, dude. I got you, man.
I told my son.
You know what? It's on my phone. Why am I acting like I can't even do it now?
Yeah, for sure. You can share that. I told my son because, of course, my son, he watches like we talked about the Kyries of the world. He's younger, and when I told him my Randolph Childress, I'm like, we probably rapped to him for about 30 minutes, but it just naturally flowed, and we kept him on for an hour because, again, just a wealth of knowledge. He came from an era that was special, and it's hard to compare the eras. Everybody has their bias, of course. Like me and Wole's a Magic fan, and it's hard to argue as to who the greatest is because, man, the way the game was played back then is so different. And Wole, even college, when we watch college, now we're at UMES, look how big our team was in college. You see the guys today, you like, man, I don't know if they could have competed back then because the game just looks so much different. But I like today's game too. I still love college. I love NBA playoffs. And I'm glad that a guy like Randolph, a guy that at his stature, and his status still follows the NBA and keeps it real though. He keeps it all the way.
That's what I love about it.
So that is crazy. But dope stuff, Wole. Always a pleasure to chop it up. Shout out to everybody that came through. Lou, Taj.
Taj, this is a good question.
Ellison. Yeah, appreciate that.
It's a good question. I like this. But hey, let me mention, like Ray said, Randolph Childress' Twitter, his X handle, at R22 Childress. That's at R22 Childress. So hit him with a follow at R22 Childress. And also, if y'all watched it, he had it on the ID tag on the ID tag on the border. So y'all can definitely hit him with a follow. But yeah, in terms of like who had the better conference run, it's Kimba. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Kimba's run was crazy. Well, it's Randolph. You talk about conference run. I still go Randolph. His average, he averaged over like 30 plus. It was crazy.
That's a good discussion too, man. It's one of those difficult arguments. Like Wole, you and I were talking about. I'm just making an analogy.
You talking about tournament in general. It's Kimba, but you talking about conference. I'm gonna go Randolph. I'm gonna go with Childress.
Yeah, man. I mean, we talked about that.
And the bodies he had to take.
Kimba did win it all. Kimba did go.
No, I'm saying we talking about winning it all. That's different. We talking about the conference tournament itself, because who he had to go against, like he had to go against like squads on his run. Randolph.
Yeah, he had the toughest. He had the toughest
road.
Randolph Childress had the tougher run.
I believe he beat Duke and Carolina in that run. If my memory serves me correctly. I'm just saying that run was real.
Those were the glory days, man. That's why I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate Taj. I mean, Paul, because we all around the same age. So those days of college hoops was so great. I mean, we talk about Todd Day, like dudes they were so real in college. You know, not all of them panned out in the league, but it's just a great time for college hoops. Dang, this was dope. I got some more stuff up my sleeve, man. We got some guys that we got to bring on. But I mean, right now it's about to be NFL day, so you know the Commanders is what it is, and I respect it. You know what I'm saying? But that was still dope. You got to reserve time for the GOATs.
Definitely got to reserve time for the GOATs, man. Yeah. Paul, Childress had a better conference run.
All right, well, we got to get Magic on, and then you have fulfilled everything. You have talked to all your childhood idols and home.
Oh, if I get Magic, it's a wrap. You can't tell me nothing.
We gotta give Sherman.
If I get Magic Johnson on, you can't tell me.
I might try to get Sherman Douglas. Hey, did Sherman Douglas play for Spin Guard? Where did he play at, Paul? Remind me, bro. I want to ask Randolph that. I totally forgot.
No, it's Spin Guard. Is it Spin Guard?
I think he played for Spin Guard.
I think it's Spin Guard. Yeah, but you know what? We appreciate everybody pulling up because you guys are the true MVPs. All the questions, the dope questions. Hey, anytime I see a newbie, I want to give him love, man. So Ellison, man, appreciate you for being on, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. I think you had some kind words. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh no,
he did play for Spin Guard. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
you know, sometimes
appreciate you, Ellison. Appreciate you for the nice words about the interview, man. Definitely appreciate that. All right, man. So before we end this show off, man, we always gotta remind y'all what to do with, in terms of subscribing. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and other podcast platforms. Just search the Urban Sports Scene. Also follow us on X at Urban Sports Scene, IG and TikTok at Urban Sports Scene, and also like our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. Please, if you're on our Urban Sports Scene YouTube channel and you have not subscribed, hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. It does well for the algorithm in terms of sports. So anytime folks looking for sports content, they know who to go to, and that's the Urban Sports Scene. So I appreciate y'all for doing that right now. I claim it, like my mom always tells me, claim it, and it has been claimed. Also, I'm trying to read something. Oh yeah, get Magic, and it's on. Yeah, Lou, I'm
gonna work on that for Wole, man. That's what it's about.
Yeah, man, get Magic, and it's on.
Lou, you had to join us that day. You're gonna be the special co-host.
Look, man.
Hey,
I'm trying to tell Donna that I'm trying to get Donna on it, but you know what I'm saying, because he is a commander now. So I've been trying to get Donna. Hey, Donna, like, come on.
Oh, man. That is true. That is true.
Like, come on, Donna, get Magic for me. But it's Magic.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to ask Doug. Doug Williams. We got a little connection through HBCUs. But like, hey man, hey bro.
You know what I'm saying? But I do. But again, man, appreciate everybody for pulling up, man. Oh yeah, I forgot the website. I didn't even mention the website. Yeah. Hey, also hit us up on our website. Just visit www.urbansports.com.
Paul crazy. He said Lakers go to Cancun. That's why.
Hey, Paul, you trying to get me? You want the smoke, Paul? Is that what we doing? I know you're a Warriors fan. You know what? I'm gonna be nice to you. I'm gonna be nice.
You was a fan of Chris Muller and Mitch Richmond.
Nah, he's a fan of Stephen on him. You know how folks are. They know none of them dudes.
They not real. He not real Warriors fan.
He ain't no Spreewell. He ain't choking no Don Nelson type dude.
He not on that. Okay.
He ain't no choking no. Yeah, he ain't choking folks
Paul,
out here.
Come on, Paul, bro.
He ain't choking. No,
I had a Chris Muller jersey.
Nah. It was what's the name? It wasn't Don Nelson. Who he choked? He choked.
He choked Don Nelson.
PJ. Oh,
PJ Carlissimo. You're right. My bad.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? He ain't one of them. He wasn't shooting in the gym with Spree. Man, he said, man, I got back to, he said, I go back to Rick Barry. You go back to Rick Barry? You want it? I need evidence on that, man. I ain't believing that, man.
Hey, dope. They said Al Adams, dope stuff, man. I'm gonna holler at y'all.
Right, anyway, you've been listening to the Urban Sports Scene for ages. You need deuces. We are out.
You